And I use mostly I'm using the thirds of the face and then the fifths of the face running across the brow line. And I talk about the halfway point being the center of the eye, and also about flaring of the head. And it's just a very basic structure circle for this front facing view. And now we're going to take that circle and cut it in half, and this line is going to represent the brow line. And next we're going to do the center line of the face, and that gives us the cross of the face. So it's a really nice way to find the head tilt if you're looking up, looking sideways. So for example, if I had the circle over here and the head was tilted this way, the brow line was tilted, and the center line was over here, and that indicates, oh, it's a 3/4 pose, the person's looking up. And if we had the same thing over here and angle the brow, in this case center line over here, we can see the person is looking down and it's a 3/4. So this is called the cross of the face, and it's super useful. Okay, now we're gonna cut the sides of the circle off, and the idea is we have to think of the head as a flaring, almost like an egg upside down. So if I drew an egg shape, so you can see the flaring of the head going out this way. So when we are looking for the general shape of the head, the sides are going to angle inwards, just like this. And the top right here is called the parietal eminence, and that is the widest point of the entire head. And then the zygomatic arch on the cheek will be the widest point of the face. So let's go ahead and slice off at an angle the side of that circle. Look at this widest point of the face from cheek to cheek pretty much, and oftentimes that's really close to the distance from the chin to the brow line. So I'm going to place the chin right about here. So this distance is a rough rule of thumb to get the chin to the eyebrow distance. And now I'm going to map in more of the thirds. So I already have the brow, the chin, and now I'm going to find the halfway mark from the brow line to the chin, and that will give me a nice indication of the third. And then I'm going to come up here and find this third, and then now I found the hairline. So now we have the thirds of the face mapped out. So let's just bring this line over. So the top third is from the hairline to the brow, middle third is the brow to the bottom of the nose, and the bottom third is the nose to the bottom of the chin. Now I'm going to come over and just sketch in a basic shape of that cheek. Okay, so now we have already established the thirds of the face, and now I'm going to establish the fifths going across the brow line. So it's going to be divided up into 5 sections, starting off with the middle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nice. So now we're going to take this line right here and just come straight down. So the inside corner is going to be here, the outside corner on this line. Same with this one and this one as well. Let's see. So now we're looking for the halfway mark from the chin to the top of the head. So I'm going to guess that's going to be about right here. It looks like I hit it pretty good on the first mark. Let me double check it. All right, that's pretty close. So the halfway mark from the top to the bottom of the head is right here on this line. And now I'm just going to come in here and sketch in that little bit of an arch that you see in the eyebrows usually. Nice. And so the inside corner is going to be here, outside corner there, inside corner, outside corner of the eye. So now I'm going to sketch in the eyeball. And now I can also sketch in the basic shape of the nose. Now I'll come over to, let's do the side plane of the head, that temporal septum or the temporal ridge. And we can do the nice frontal rhythm of the front of the skull, the frontal bone. Kind of runs down, wraps up and around. And placement of the ear is really simple on this diagram. The top of the ear lines up with the brow line, and the bottom of the ear lines up with the nose. So there you go. And now I'm just going to come in and do this neck rhythm. I don't like that floating head. I want it to be anchored down. All right, let me just come in here and darken up some of these lines. And we still have to place in the mouth. And there's a rule of thumb for the mouth is to find the halfway point from bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin. So first we'll do that. And so the concept is that this is the bottom border of the bottom lip. And so if I bring the split, the division between the upper lip and the bottom lip to right here, then now all I have to do is sketch in the philtrum and the upper portion of the upper lip. And you can choose your corner like so. Let me bring this guy in a little bit. Stair step over, stair step up, across, stair step down, and then over. And that little centerpiece of the upper lip kind of hangs over sometimes. So now we have placement of our mouth. And we can do a nice rhythm for the chin. I'm going to bring his chin up a little bit. I can see how I kind of dropped it down a little bit earlier. Maybe I'll bring the angle of his jaw in a little bit more. And then the rhythm of the chin. I'm pretty shaky right now. What's up with that? Let's see. And then you can do another rhythm right here for the column of the mouth. Alright, so now let's get to the eyes. And the eyes, we already have it mapped out, the inside corner and outside corner. So all we got to do now is do the nice little rhythm from side to side for the upper eyelid. Like so. And this is a very basic way to do it. Very useful. And the inside rhythm, like so, from side to side. And then the upper eyelid, like that, come over. And then the bottom portion of the eyelid, side to side. Very simple. And then we can come over, let's see, let's do the bottom, kind of like just sketch in the eyebrow itself. So we went through and established the thirds of the face after we did the cross of the face. So across of the face, the width, then the thirds, and then we found the fifths running across, and then we sketched in the keystone shape of the nose, inside, outside corners of the eye, and we talked about the mouth placement. So very basic, very powerful technique to learn. The best way to study this is to do 5-minute heads where you're just trying to remember from memory, draw these basic heads, and give yourself 5 minutes on a head. Maybe make the head not as big as this, and maybe you can go like about half the size, and give yourself 5 minutes and do 4 of them, and that'll be your 20-minute warm-up. Just a wonderful exercise. It's sort of like if you were a musician and you were studying, you would do scales. So like I used to study classical guitar, and I used to have to practice the scales all the time, and it really helped to build dexterity. It helped to understand the music and how the placement of the fingers on the guitar and stuff. It was a little tedious after a while, but it is such a good exercise. It gets you to learn faster. And I feel like the same thing is for this exercise here, because you're learning the thirds of the face. And you have to understand that it really depends on the person that you're drawing. If you're drawing somebody who has a really long nose, for example, it won't be 3 equal parts. It's definitely going to be different. So after you learn the basics, you learn the generic head, and then you start to realize that you're drawing faster.